Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games, and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games, and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at criticalblast.com. And a couple of nights off, and it's like I've forgotten how to stream. I've forgotten how to keep a schedule. I've forgotten how to book guests. It's like my digital hymen has regrown. I am starting all over. Just like starting over. I need round glasses for that. That would work better. Anyway, we're not going to drive you away just as soon as you get here. We are going to jump into talking about some more crowdfunded comics. Ran across a new one today that I have not seen before. So please welcome with me to the show, Mr. Kevin Murphy, as we talk about the Ballad of the Celestials.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome,
Thank
Kevin.
you so much for having me on.
I'm glad to do it, man. I'm going to turn you up here a little bit because
Sure.
somewhere after we went live, the volume went down, and it's not you, it's me. It's
Okay. If you want me to sound, I can put more bass in the voice if that's what you'd like.
If you can add some more stentorian tones, that would really carry through. But no, I've got two monitors, and you would think they're just monitors. But no, because I watched Netflix on this one, and I still, this is my laptop right here. And for whatever reason, if I close that out and I start a video over here, it's like this video is secondary audio now. And it comes like, it'll be real soft and faint. And then somewhere along the way, the computer figures out that it's actually the main video now. And I've turned the volume up and it's going to crank right at me. And I got to turn it back down to get to a regular. I have a stupid computer.
For some reason, I have this belief that anything electronic should always work. So if it doesn't work, it pisses me off.
Yeah, it's a light switch. You flip it up, the light comes on. If the light bulbs burn out, I sit there and I think it's the switch's fault because, the electronic.
Something expensive my car can go. I don't get mad. I'm like, that's what happens. But if I can't get one little thing on my computer, I'm like, why is this not working?
I don't understand how anything works. Computers are genies trapped in little black boxes. Cars, same way. You turn the key, it starts, you go. You turn the key, it doesn't, it's broke. That's the extent of my knowledge of cars. Mike Jimmy in the chat tonight. Welcome, sir, Mr. Life on Korra himself, getting ready to launch. Speaking of Life on Korra, I had a really good delivery today. Kevin, you get a lot of crowdfunded comic deliveries.
I've only been around with CG for maybe about 6 or 7 months, but I've probably backed about 7 to 8 books. Well,
there's a lot of books that aren't CG too. So I play the field. I'm out there buying comics.
Independence, I've only been in the CG realm so far.
Nothing wrong with that. I got my Alterna pack today, and among the Alterna stuff was my Downcast number 3. Now I've not read Downcast 1 or 2 yet. I've got them over here too, but I really wanted Downcast number 3 because one of the tiers that Peter put in there was buy an ad.
That's awesome.
And there we are, our logistics company, which does fulfillment for crowdfunding campaigns, on the back here with all the different companies that we worked with. And, right there at the top right is Life on Korra number 4. So Mike Jimmy is one of the people who have helped make this business the success that it's becoming. So thank you, Mike. Looking forward to Life on Korra 5, and I hope that I'm sending out more boxes this time than last time. It's a Zen thing. I'm old. I have to go see doctors. They like to take my blood pressure, and they do it, and I just sit there and think, down, across, fold over. It's just, that Gemini mailer thing is like, and my blood pressure just comes down. They're like, are you still taking your pills? I'm like, yeah. Is it high? They're like, no, we don't think you need them. Like, thanks, Comicsgate. Comicsgate cures your blood pressure problems.
I mean, I love the community. It's probably been the best community I've ever been in.
I've met a lot of nice people in it. I've met a lot of nice people who aren't in it. I don't think we have a Comicsgate problem or an anti-Comicsgate problem. I think we have an asshole problem, and that has nothing to do with where you buy your comics.
You're going to
some people
everywhere.
Are. Yes,
just,
yeah, they're all over the place.
Everyone has someone like that in their family.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, tell me about the Celestials and why they're having a ballad. I mean, ballad. There's music involved here. Something.
Sure. So I don't want to give too much away about the Celestials because as of right now, they're more in the background doing things, and you'll find out more about them as they go. But ballad is kind of like thinking of like a tale. It's, these are kind of being told. These are grand legends, and so it's very fantasy realmish.
Something bardic.
Yeah, I mean, it's very what I'm kind of doing is taking all mythologies and trying to make them into one. Tolkien did that with Lord of the Rings. He was trying to make a mythology for Europe. And I actually think all mythologies really mix well. And I feel like there's a reason that a lot of them are very close to the things they have in it. And so that's what I'm pretty much doing is all the ancient civilizations and cultures we're making up are going to be involved in this. It's, the continent there's just one continent. It's before the flood that separated the continents. So that's kind of where this tale starts. It starts.
So it's on a Pangea like world. Is it this world or is it a world like
this? No, this is this world. This is, this is the prehistory that we don't have much written down, but that's why it's a ballad where this has kind of been brought down in songs to kind of know some of the things that we still don't know. Things like, why the pyramids were built and the Great Wall of China and all those things we don't know. Well,
aliens.
That'll be addressed in this.
So it was all built for the aliens because they needed landing strips.
Well, the Celestials, they might be a hodgepodge of different things. There will be actual characters, not in our first issue. So our first issue's 30 pages. It's basically the first act of like a 3-act movie. So there's very much action, character building, some suspense. And that's what we're going to kind of be doing throughout our comic. I actually been writing a novel since 2000 after I saw Lord of the Rings in the movie theater. And I kind of made it out to 10 novels. So we can make a lot of comics. It's just going to take a long time. So my plan is each 3 comics will kind of be a movie in itself. So 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and 7 through 9.
So you're going to keep the numbering going. Good.
Yeah. And so then the 10th is kind of a special all-encompassing all of those 3 trilogies to put it all together. And so your 1 through 10 is kind of a story. Your 11 through 20. Your
so you're really thinking of going long distance then?
I think we could definitely do 100. I don't want to pad it out if it's good for 100 because I had about 10 volumes for the things I wanted to change in the worlds because we are going to have a lot of different cultures. I think that's one of the most fun things you ever can get into, like world building. I think that's why the Black Panther movie did so well. It wasn't just a character, it was a whole universe.
Yes.
And everything that was involved in it. So we're always going to be kind of focusing on that. And because there's so many ancient cultures and there's things we can kind of make up. And even right now, there's so many great cultures that have celebrations or foods or customs, we can kind of do that as well and play with a lot of it. And so, kind of our main character here, Mayor, his people would kind of be more of the Irish, more Celtic, if you'd see. So you'll get a little bit of that. You don't get much of their culture in the first one, just because there's a lot of building up and there's a lot of action. You'll get more of that in the second book, but there is some of where he's from, and this is he's kind of going back home in this.
Yeah, we have an image of him here. He's got a lot of blood on him. I don't think any of it's his though, so I wouldn't worry too much about him.
Yeah, no, he's more he was put in a situation because things weren't going well as they should, and he's not exhausted, he's not hurt, he's more angry at his fellow companions because they didn't do as well of something he wanted them to do without giving away much of it. So actually, if you go up, I can kind of read what the all-encompassing first one is here, where it says, before the ancient flood, continents are connected, but mankind is divided. The celestials are perched in wait. Because of this, an evil force arises to conquer the earth. Mayor and his small group of warriors encounter this evil and are thrust into a crisis that will disrupt the fate of humanity. So, there's big things here, but honestly, the first comic is Mayor's on his way home for some reason with a couple of his friends. He's got 4 friends, and they actually find a force going against his home, and he kind of intercepts them to stop what they're trying to do.
Yeah. Now, of course, in the a lot of the stories that take place in the antediluvian period, the evil and the what some might call the celestials, others have called the Nephilim, which were these half-breed, because the sons of God, angels, demons, fallen angels, had decided to, hey, this whole creation thing, we didn't like it at first, but you got to admit, he made some damn fine bitches.
It is interesting how many people, at least in CG, know about the Book of Enoch and know about the Middle Eastern mythology and Jewish mythology, and so you're hitting on some stuff. There is the Celestials, they're a hodgepodge of things, and they evolve and different things happen. So there will be stuff you'll recognize and be like, oh, I see where they're going with this, see what they're going like that. But as I said, we're taking a bunch of different things and trying to make it sense. But the Celestials, they're not humans. I'll just say that.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody's ever done a story from that time period that wasn't set in the Middle East. You're setting it in Ireland, which is going to be connected to Great Britain, which is going to be connected to Europe because they're not islands yet. So the time period is there, but everything's wide open because nobody knows what happened there.
Yeah.
And because it was all kind of focused on Noah and his story, because hey, after this story he's the star of the show, so so to speak.
Well, and the interesting thing, you're talking about giants. Every culture has giants.
Yes,
they all talk about it. They all talk about the gods coming from the skies and teaching them things. So there, like I said, I feel like there's a lot of things that it seems like same things happened to a lot of different cultures. And so we're going to lean on that. Of course, there's stuff we're just doing because we like to do it. There's going to be influences that we have. Like my big influence is the X-Men. I love them. I love team books. I was big into the Turtles when I was a kid. Then my artist, Derek, even though he's my artist, he really is. We work as a team. There's a lot of stuff he's put into it. He loves Conan. So you can even see here, he's really, I would never read Conan, but he loves Mayor because Mayor reminds him of Conan. And so you could see that in his art. So he loves
and
this.
comics is such a collaborative effort that, the artist is just as much part of the storytelling as the writer is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And, it's worked. I mean, we were friends for about 5 years before we started this. And it's just, it's weird. We have I'll say stuff and it's almost like he can look inside my head. It's so amazing the things that he knows what I'm thinking. He can picture what I'm saying. And then there's interesting things where like he just drew 2 pages with nothing. It was just something he was having fun with, and I look at it and I'm like, you know what? We're going to put this in the book now, and I've thought of something to go with his drawings. And I know Stan Lee and King Kirby, would do that at times the Marvel way. So it's been fun. It's a lot more work than you'd ever think. Getting your own YouTube channel and getting everything together. And so we have the whole book is done. We still have to make some edits. We put it to our editor, and our editor came back. He felt like the Celestials weren't given enough information, because I did kind of want to hold them back. So I'm going to be adding a page to kind of help the readers understand that more. And on this, it actually says 27 pages, but we've now changed it to 30 pages. So 30 action-packed pages in this. So if you like mythology, there's beasts. There's actually 2 different enemies in this story. There's one enemy kind of behind them, and then there's this enemy they meet on the road going home, trying to kind of mess with Mare's home. So, and Mare's friends are not from his home. They are from warriors from other civilizations that he's met. So there's that as well.
And Mike Jimmy, who's watching at 2 a.m. over in Amsterdam. So, or thereabouts. Amsterdam's a city, not a country. He's in the Netherlands. I keep getting that mixed up because I'm a dumb American. But yeah, 30 pages ain't bad at all. Now, of course, it's got to be 32 pages for the book, because 4 pages for a single sheet that gets saddle stitched, 2 and then flip over for the other 2. But, I'm sure you'll probably even have more than 32 by the time you're all done, because you'll have, pin-up pages and explanation pages. But 30 pages of story is good.
Yeah, 30 actual pages of story. We'll probably have like a thank you page, since it's our first book of, people who've influenced us through our whole life. We've seen different people do things like questions or things in the back, or maybe things to change. So we haven't worked that out, but there will be, it might even be 40 pages, honestly, with 30 story and then a bunch of kind of behind the scenes things.
Do you have a price point in mind yet?
Yes, we are. So we're going to have a digital, then our physical, I believe we're making it 15. I think that's correct. And then I think 7's for the digital. And then we're going to have 3 covers, with our campaign. Can I actually, so
show whatever you want,
if
man.
you go all the way back up, that's part of one of our covers. It's an homage to the Captain America Wolverine comic book of Captain America.
Okay.
Wolverine slashing at his shield. You can even see the color of that. I might actually have a bigger.
And while you're looking for that, you talked about how multiple arcs will be coming along here. Are they all going to be focused on Mare, or are you going to, hop around the world and talk with other people?
So we
had it, now we don't.
Definitely. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I mess that up?
Well, we got a black screen now. You want me to take it down till you got it set there? That way, none of your personal stuff will show up until you get the picture right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was. Well, here I have a drawing of a part of our. Are you able to see that?
I've got this black screen. Do you see it?
Yeah. Why is it black? All right, I'll stop sharing. Let me try this again.
It's StreamYard. That's how it works. It's, turn it off and back on again kind of thing.
Okay, are you able to see this now?
Yes, I am. There we go.
Okay.
Cool.
So this is our second, this is like our team cover. Just showing a little bit of it because we don't have it fully covered yet, but there's, Mare. And we've actually even edited this. He has a little bit more different clothes on in our full one. So it's always going to be a team book. Just right now, I guess you can call him the main character, but that's what I kind of like Lord of the Rings. You know, there was Aragorn, Frodo, Gandalf, like you had many of them. I'm ending up to have a lot of characters, so there will be books where probably Mayor's not in it at all. Might even split up them, having two different stories going at the same time, because kind of just from a writing standpoint, have to do that long term to get all of the cultures in it, and then kind of can do more stuff with wars and everything like that. So it's, you know, it's always more of a team book than an individual, even though he's kind of the star.
That weapon he's carrying is,
yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's a blade, and then it's like a steel ball with a spike, and then it's got this that's a hammer and a cutter and that's a bad boy. Is that taken from history, or did you guys just kind of spitball that one and come up with something?
I thought of it because, again, I feel like we can do some more things with technology because of the pyramids, that there are some things they can do with armor and weapons that you don't usually think of. So there's actually going to be a scene in the second comic where he can actually take it apart and use it as multiple weapons, like a hammer, two axes, can use it as like a pike. So that ball kind of is what puts it all together as one weapon, and then he can actually split it apart from multiple weapons.
That's a vicious looking thing there. I love the pencils on that too. It's gonna be a shame to color that, I think.
Now I just tried to share why did that?
You can only share one thing at a time, so you can. I
have to get out of it to then stop share.
Yeah, unless you're sharing a screen, in which case you can just drag more things onto the screen. That's what I do. But if you're sharing an application, then it's just going to be.
It's like picture. It's like a picture application. So
yeah, I got you.
All right, so then I'll.
Mike's recommending that you want to keep the focus on keeping the team together at first, though. Out of my own experience with one of my writers, but you sound like you know what you're doing. I think so too. He's and now he's got to go. He's got to work on Life on Course 6 while we ramble. Yes, thank you, because that's what we do here. We're rambling. Oh, now that's nice.
Yeah. So again, this is kind of that shot of him all in blood. Kind of a quick thing of what he's doing. Again, kind of going into the fantasy realm. You're going to have beasts. Even where there are animals and beasts that aren't of this world, because again, you know, science, they do have some more things than what we normally think. Again, going back to the pyramids and things that we don't even know how to build right now ourselves. So they understand DNA, they understand how to manipulate things. That's kind of even a thing, you know, you're talking about the giants, there's DNA stuff and bloodlines and things like that. So that'll be in our book as well. So there's a purpose that they're after this creature. And this is definitely, Derek did an amazing job. Our colorist is really great too. I love this scene. You kind of get to see more of the weapon too, kind of how the one side's a hammer, the other side's an axe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very cool. So it looks like a big blue kind of dog-like creature. It's in pieces now. It's hard to tell, but
yeah, it actually looks more of kind of a rhinoceros and like a dinosaur kind of together. Actually, I do have a better picture of the beast. So I'll stop sharing and then I'll share a different. Okay, you able to see that?
I got it.
Okay, so see, you can kind of see him. He's got a big horn, and there he kind of falls through a trap. He's running after our smallest character in his group. His name is Chiro. You know, culturally, he's more of like an Indian from India, not like a Native American, and so he's the quickest.
Only one continent, people.
Huh?
I said, there's only one continent in this story, people, so they're all together.
Yeah, and that's kind of why they've already met, because even in battles, like there's a lot of kingdoms and tribes, and there's some people that still just live in the forest or the woods. But Mare left home a long time ago and has went through many different countries and been in different wars, and he's kind of met people and they've stuck with him. And his family has a great background, so they're I like the idea of Mare. Like I said, I love the X-Men. I always loved with Wolverine that he had this big backstory that when he was at places, there'd always be people who would just know him because they'd have a past with him. And that's kind of Mare. Mare's kind of been around the whole world. And so if they go somewhere else, there's usually someone that will know him. He's well known. So, but he was kind of the meat for the beast here to trap them for what they want to do with the beast, but it doesn't go as well as they liked it, and that's kind of what you see ending up with Mare being very angry. And then let's see,
when are we gonna see this launch? What you got a date for the active campaign?
Yes, the first week of February. We're either going to do it the Thursday or the Friday. We're going to do it on Michael Bancroft's YouTube.
Good place to launch.
Yeah. And I mean, we've been in his community for about 6 or 7 months. That's kind of been our home. So it just made sense. And so, yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And it's coming fast. So let me see what else I got here.
And while he's looking, folks, I want to remind you the link to the sign up is right below the video, also pinned at the top of the chat. And if you sign up, you're going to get a secret tier link so that when it launches, there's going to be something cool that only y'all here can. And you know what? While I'm sitting here, why am I sitting here telling you about it when I can just sign up for it myself?
Oh, awesome.
Read to the privacy things. And yes, everybody just saw my email, so I can get more threatening emails like I got today.
You really have? Wow.
Oh, no. You don't understand. I got a letter from Dong somebody who said, here is a link to my CBD gummy site in the UK. Here's what I want. I want you to put, 3 backlinks on here. Also, a gold standard this and a 5-star. And if I don't, I'm going to create millions of spam blog posts and link them back to you. So goodbye to your Google ranking for a year. I'm like, you didn't even, use all the article words of an English sentence structure there. You are that. I missed. Go back to threatening me for Bitcoin because you accessed my camera while I was watching naughty things. Those were more entertaining. This one's just boring. Now watch to get 1 million hits in a week when I don't do this. And it was real. One of these days, there will be a Nigerian prince who needs help, and somebody's going to luck out.
It's just crazy though that actually works. That
it has to work, otherwise they wouldn't do it again. Yeah.
It's especially when more of the elderly people who don't know what they're doing. That's a lot of time where they get.
Oh, and my wife's dear sainted aunt. This is going back 10 years, so internet still new-ish. She had it. She's a nun. She's an much older nun. She had the priest come over to help with her computer. Why? Because she got a message about the mailer demon.
That is awesome.
True story.
That's awesome. Oh man, that's great.
So that had to be taken care of fast.
Yeah. They needed an exorcist for the email.
Yeah, we IT people brought it on ourselves. Why'd we call it that?
Yeah, that is interesting. I never really thought of that. That should be a TV joke. Like that should be an episode with something. That's great. The mailer. Did the priest understand what it was, or did he think it was like a demonic?
I hope the priest understood it. He might have just said, and then it sparked, and there it went. The mailer demon was gone, as was everything else in the computer. She's still using a computer today, so hopefully that she's figured that one out.
That's awesome. And so this is the last picture I have. This is kind of just a scene in the book, an argument when some decisions have to be made. That's going on in the book. And so it's Mayor, and then Burn. Burn's kind of like a beast master. He's more northern. I guess you kind of consider his background like Russian, somewhat, if you're going to think of that.
I love that shoulder piece he's got on. That's very Travis Morgan Warlord.
Yeah. So we got a lot of things going on in the 30 pages. A lot of drama, a lot of action, very fast paced. So hopefully people really dig it. That they'll be excited. It ends with each character having something going on. So I know the one person said about keeping them in a group. It might not end that way in this first issue.
So at the end of the first issue, everybody's got a side quest to take off on, because that could lead into many, many books.
So they're still all in the same region. But I'd say nothing's going good for any of them. Different things. They're all kind of in different positions of threat, how it ends. So a good cliffhanger.
Okay. Well, you know what? I was not looking too forward to it when I first saw it. Like, okay, it's fantasy, blood, axes. But now that you're telling me what it's about, I'm like, yeah, that's why I wanted to sign up for it. I want to see this one. I had a question. Now I forgot what it was. Wasn't really a question. It was more of a commentary point, I guess. But it'll come back sometime. Don't get old, Kevin. It sucks.
Every decision that me and Derek make, we go by the rule. If it's sexy or cool, we'll go with that. Like if we have a decision to make or something it's the McFarlane rule that if something's sexy or cool, it'll be successful. Like that's how he's made a lot of his decisions.
He hadn't gone too wrong. I mean, buying those baseballs was probably a questionable decision, but other than that, the comics have been great.
He actually talks about that, and he says buying those were the greatest things he did, because when he bought the baseballs, it gave him clout because he had enough money and success to buy them. And he actually says buying those were the reasons people started taking him seriously. Yeah,
got his name out there.
Yeah.
The price of the balls has dropped, but he's still the guy who bought them.
They didn't keep going up.
But remember now, when he bought those baseballs, there was no asterisk.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
And both of them got asterisks after the purchase. So
I wonder do you know how much it went? Like, did it go down like half of what he bought?
Well, I don't know, because you only find out the value of it when he sells it, and he's not selling it. So
good point.
So, yeah, I guess the value still holds at what he paid for him.
It would be interesting if people could buy, because even though there's an asterisk, I mean, that was a big part of, like, people who didn't watch baseball was watching that. Like,
oh yeah,
that was huge.
I was watching the Cardinals in St. Louis, because that's where I lived, and it was the McGuire year, and I was watching the race for 71 or for 70, and
because Martinez was in it, but then he couldn't keep up with both of them. So
yeah, and I was there when the baseball hit the scoreboard, and when you come back, they had the big Band-Aid over the scoreboard. It was literally shaped like a Band-Aid.
You were in attendance there?
I was there when he hit the board. I wasn't there when they put the Band-Aid up, but yeah, that one. Okay. But I was like watching it on TV, and she comes downstairs and she's like, oh, are you still watching baseball? I'm never, and it's just about the time she's saying, I'm never going to get to, Mark just goes with the bat. She's like, and I'm never going to, who's that? And I was like, that was gone. I now have somewhere in a hope chest, a photo album with photos taken at a game where she went down to the baseline where you weren't supposed to be. And whereas, you might have really good pictures of, or I've got pictures of his butt. We've got photos of Mark McGuire's butt in a photo album somewhere. She knows they're Mark McGuire's butts, and that's all that matters.
Was that what she was aiming for? Is that what
Yes,
she wanted?
That was an intentional shot.
Okay.
She got pictures of his arms too, because they were huge. They were.
Oh yeah, he was jacked.
Cannons.
Oh my god, yeah, for a baseball player too. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, but there was a reason for that. So it all came out in the end. So, but he's paying for it now. He's not the man he was or the man he could have been.
Yeah, and I think it did hurt baseball in the long run.
And that was really the last time I was into baseball, by the way. I was like, I watch the home team when they're winning, and then I just kind of go back to being a normal person again.
I grew up in Northeast Pennsylvania, in Scranton, Pennsylvania, so I was you're either Phillies or Yankee fan, and my dad was a Yankee fan, so we would actually go probably to 1 or 2 games a year. And so I loved the Yankees, but then when they got David Justice, I felt like, oh, now you're just starting to buy players, and they got, I liked it when they were getting people from the farm league, like Bernie Williams. And so I was big into the Yankees, and my dad was too, but then they just started getting free agents, and it's just, I don't like that. Like, I don't like buying sports wins. I just don't.
Yeah. And they all do that now. They're trading continentally and intercontinentally sometimes. It's never, hey, this is the hometown team made of hometown guys who all live here. They were working the steel mill, and then they play football in the fall, and that kind of group.
Yeah. I still love football, but I've lost my love of baseball, and I really did. As a kid, I loved baseball, played it.
It turned into something else. Baseball gate. That's what happened.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't even name a baseball player who's playing right now, so they haven't done themselves any favors either.
Oh no, well, yeah, and it's been a weird 2 years too for sports.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the last big thing I remember in sports happening is when the St. Louis Blues took the Stanley Cup. That was a huge deal for them because
that was.
And hockey's a weird thing too, because it's like, hockey's over with. They win the Stanley Cup, and you're like, when's the season start again? It's next week. It goes almost all damn year long.
And that's a tough sport too. I don't like to watch it on TV, but I've been to like minor league games live. Hockey is amazing. On TV, for me, it doesn't work. It's
gotten better. I used to hate watching it on TV because it was like, and again, I didn't watch that much in the first place, but it was like men skating around and somebody telling you what happened.
You didn't know where the puck was. It's like,
but when they finally, put the dot on the puck so it shows up on the screen all the time, you can follow. You're like, oh, that's the action. That's what you're trying to follow. I'm convinced that football fields are green precisely so that they can superimpose images onto them with the camera. Either that's why they're green, or that's why the green screens are green, because they developed the technology around the football field.
You know what? I've never heard why it is green screen, because it's not like green's not a color that you use. I don't know why it is green. Maybe it could be that. I mean, usually the money.
We've already figured out how to put it on the football field. Just use the same technology and make your screen behind you green, and don't wear anything green that day because you'll be disappearing. That's always fun when you watch a weatherman with a hole in his shirt because he's wearing a green tie.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That in fact, that's the same technology, wandering around, rambling, as Mike says we were doing, on George Peter Gatsis's channel, georgepetergatsis.com. He does old movies every Friday and Saturday night, where and riffs on them. They're public domain. If they're not public domain, he finds out why they're not and fixes the part so that it becomes public domain and he can play it on his channel. Old Boris Karloff movie, one of his last ones, called The Ghost in the Invisible Bikini. And it was not what it was advertised to be. Because I'm thinking, if the bikini is invisible, and but instead what it was she was wearing a green screen cloth bikini. So when you saw her, you saw all of her except the the midsection and the top section because you saw right through those areas. The green screen had been, made her invisible in those areas.
So the best parts were invisible.
The best parts were invisible, but also left to the imagination. So,
oh yeah, because it's not even, there's no shape, right? Yeah.
No, it wasn't there. It was just like straight through. Weird movie, but also we determined was also the precursor for Scooby-Doo. It inspired everything about that movie. We're like, oh, they're ripping off Scooby-Doo here, they're ripping off Scooby-Doo there, and then we found out it came out like 5 years before Scooby-Doo broadcast. I'm like, oh, it inspired it. Way to go, Ghost in the Invisible Bikini. But anyway, hit up GeorgePeterGatsas.com and check out his channel for fun old science fiction movies and superhero serials from the theaters. And
so is it kind of like what was it, Mystery Theater 3000, where they're making jokes the whole time?
Yeah, exactly like that. And he's taken like the Batman serials and the Green Hornet serials, and he's spliced all the episodes together and taken out like the cliffhanger ending and the cliffhanger beginning, so it like is more seamless. So instead of 10 to 15 minute bursts, you've got a free flowing 2-hour movie that you just stay with it, and it's perfectly seamless. He's replaced some of the music because the music is the film is public domain, but if somebody reuses the music for something, that renews the music in a copyright way. So it's technically you could sell the movie on DVD and not have a problem, but YouTube's algorithm says, hey, whenever this was used last, start counting copyright from there. Because it's a robot and it's stupid.
Yeah, those robots are stupid. So yeah, that's everything at the moment I have to share.
Well, you have a YouTube channel though, right?
Yes, we do.
What's your YouTube channel? Let's get that out here. Send it to me in the private chat, and I'll throw it out to the chat at large so they can jump over there and subscribe and tune in for updates that you'll be making about the campaign, no doubt.
Yeah, it's Murph and Dirk Duke It Out. We've had about 30 videos. We do try to get a lot of guests on to promote stuff that they're putting out as well. We kind of talk about everything. We're Derek, my artist, he's in a band. So there's a lot of times we'll talk about music. We might talk about superheroes from time to time if something comes up. I'm getting the link as we're talking. Actually, we've really liked it. Like we do it every Tuesday night at 8:00. And
that's smart. Once a week. Crazy people do this thing where they try to do it every night at the same time, and I don't know how they survive. Because that's all we do.
Yeah, I don't know how you even get that much material.
Well, you go out on Twitter and you say, hey, help, and somebody DMs you and says, I'm available, and then you've got a show. Mike says hit him up and he'll be glad to come on your show. Always looking for more shows to chat on. Mike, huge CG supporter from CG is a worldwide enterprise now. So
okay, I put the link in the private chat.
I've got it. I'm going. Got the link. And becoming 122 while I'm at it.
Thank you very much.
Throw the link out here so everybody else can jump on there and subscribe. And again, if you've got comic book projects, go talk to Murph and get on there and help.
Our videos are always better with guests. It really, so we try to get as many guests as we can. It's just more lively, more fun. It's a little bit more creative too.
I've tried the solo thing. It doesn't work. And yes, Mike, just like what you do on the mic stand, Mike's out there every night except Saturday and Sunday, going over the news of the day. And then Friday, he's going through the golden age of comics and working his way forward to present day. He'll be like about 312 by the time he gets to the Bronze Age. But he's hitting the highlights actually. So it's an interesting historical perspective.
Awesome.
All right.
Try to stay away from pop culture just because it seems like there's so many other people that do it. So we just try to pick the topics to come up with, and what we're interested in and things that we like. And a lot of times we'll go into mythology too, just because, our book has so much to do with mythology. And it's something we both love, me and Derek. I always loved Odysseus. I read Odysseus probably when I was like 9 or 10, like 20 times. I just loved it.
Oh yeah, my classical lit teacher in high school was also my Latin teacher. So I already knew him well, and we took classical lit. We had the Edith Hamilton mythologies, and then he went into the Odenvilienve and the great Emir cow that licked them from the ice. And then we were on creation mythologies, and he brought up the Bible. He's like, okay, we're talking creation stories. Don't nobody go home and get your pastor and say the school's telling you this is mythology. It's classical literature. Let's talk about it as classical literature. And I was like, nice CYA, Mr. Simpson. Because it was the 80s, so it was like the Jerry Falwell moral majority was in full swing at the time. So teachers were,
and like we were talking before, like the Book of Enoch and Jasper and Jubilee are considered kind of Jewish mythology. They don't really consider it a biblical text. They consider it more into that. And that's the interesting thing too. I don't think people know, like, there's other Middle East regions that have mythology, like genies. They're called, actually in The Witcher, what they called them in that show was actually what they called them, the genies that would grant wishes. It's actually in the mythology of the Middle East.
The jinn?
The jinn, yes. Yeah. That's exactly what they believed. They believed they did exist.
Yeah, and that and their mythology intersects with the Jewish mythology because who put the genies in the bottles? Solomon. King Solomon did. So, who's to say that?
There's a book of Solomon where he actually has a ring to control demons, and it's not the Book of Solomon. There's a mythology book that Solomon controls demons by having a ring, and that's where people think Tolkien got the idea. Oh, what is it called? Maybe it is the book. Maybe it is the Book of Solomon, no, it's like the Song of Solomon.
Well, the Song of Solomon's in the Bible. The Song of Solomon was a love letter where it was poetry.
Okay.
That was if you were a teenager growing up in an evangelical household, that was your dirty literature because you could look at it and like, what do you read over there? The Bible. The Bible. Yes.
And the tasting of juices and this is going to kill me now. What that book is called, but the idea.
But he used that ring to imprint the bottles that he would trap the jinn in. It was the seal was his ring, and
that's what it was. Okay.
And when you get into the stories of Aladdin, everyone remembers the lamp, but there was a lamp and there was a ring, because both of those were in there, and that's you talk about some Middle Eastern mythology. If you get the original Tale of a Thousand Nights and a Night by not the guy who married Elizabeth Taylor, but the same name, Burton. That there's a lot of stories in there, and dirty. The tale of the sailor and the three women, and they're all like taking turns with him and pointing at their nether regions and saying, "What do you call this?" And they called it a quaint. But they also had their little euphemisms, and they were all like sailing euphemisms. And they were like, what are you going to do? He's like, well, I'm going to raise full staff and I'm going to sail under this and I'm going to pull into port here. And I'm like, dude,
that's awesome.
But
I'll definitely have to look that up and read, because again, there's so many. They're so creative in their story.
You locked for a minute there. I panicked.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't know why you locked up, but it was like,
I thought you had another story that you were like, oh, this is a great, and I was like, oh man, what's this gonna be? Because that was good stuff. Like,
yeah, 1,000 Nights and a Night. It's not 1,001 Arabian Nights. That's the Bowdlerized version that was made up for Aladdin, Alibaba. They're all in there, but you've got to get the other 1,001 stories. I mean, Scheherazade was fighting for her life this whole time. That's where that is the book. The Sultan was betrayed by his wife. He hated women, so but he couldn't lay with them unless he was married to them. So what he would do is he would marry them, consummate the marriage, and then kill them. And everybody knew this. So Scheherazade when it was her turn, she got picked. She started a story, and she told the story until sunup, and then he was too tired to do anything, and it was on a cliffhanger, and she wouldn't finish the story. She had to finish it the next night, and she'd like go a half hour and finish it, and then spin it off into another story. And this went on for 1,001 nights until such time as the Sultan realized, I really do love her. I'm not going to kill her, and I'm going to keep her as the queen.
Oh,
that's the whole story of 1,001 Arabian Nights.
How long is it?
It's thick. Okay. It's a Bible. It's a Bible in thickness. It's huge.
So there really is like 1,000 stories in it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's probably, man, I really look forward to looking. Thank you for that.
There were 1,001 nights. So, some nights she told a story over 3 nights. Okay. But, there's always that break where, like the story ends and then it's back to Scheherazade and the Sultan and, finishing up the night and going into the next morning as another intro. But yeah, it's great literature. You've got to read it.
So she actually started television and serials.
She started long form stories. Yes. you could not, the Sultan could not binge it. He had to come back every night. It was appointment storytelling.
First streaming. She had the first streaming. Service.
Yeah. But it was like, tune in tomorrow for another exciting episode. She didn't drop the whole season on him.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh man. I look forward to, and again, that's the crazy thing too. There is so much mythology. There's even, if you know about the Land of the Giants, and archaeologists actually think they found the gate, that it's an actual place, that there was a home of the giants, and there's so much stuff. Oh, there's so much good stuff. So we're definitely going to have a lot of fun. But I because it is fantasy, so there will be supernatural and magic, but I liked Harry Potter, but the magic didn't have rules. Like there was no, so like as the story goes, we're going to have like the Celestials will have rules and things will change for what they can and can't do. And then even like magic or supernatural will have rules to it, that it's not like, oh, you can just do this and everything will be okay. Like there'll be a cost.
I loved Harry Potter when I read it. And I kind of laughed.
She's a great.
Yeah. I kind of laughed at the people who were like against it, because it's like, it teaches spell casting. Like, really? Yes. Because it's in Latin? Yes. Are you Catholic? And I just hang it there, because it's like, have you been to mass lately? Have you listened real close?
Well, I mean, even like one of the spells is like ridiculous.
Yeah. You just made your opponent ridiculous, but it was the Latin word for it. I think you finally really froze, Kevin. You've been sputtering in and out, and I think your internet finally died. All right. Well, as we gaze upon the visage of Kevin here in his frozen portraiture form, I will remind everybody that the link to the sign up for Ballad of the Celestials is below the video, and there's also a link at the top of the chat. The chat's going away, so below the video is where you want to go. Click over there, sign in, so that when in February it's going to be going live. And it looks like Kevin's moving again, so the portrait of Kevin Murph Gray is once again alive. We were just yes. I have.
Sorry that my internet went totally out.
Yeah, and it's doing it again. I am in Zoom meetings with my boss, and hers does it all the time, and we'll be like, blink. If you're still here, blink, because she'll like go into thought, and then we think she's frozen, and she's not. But so we're like, you got to keep blinking so that we know you're alive or that your stream is up. Anyway, Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight and telling us all about Ballad of the Celestials and all the cool stuff that's behind it, and all the cool stuff that it made us talk about as the circuitous conversation meandered about here. Yes, Mike Jimmy was right. It is a ramble. Derek, we're very glad to have Murph on the show, and it has been indeed a great discussion. Folks in the chat, thank you so much for showing up. We don't have a show unless you're here to watch it, so we're grateful for you to be here. And as always, we just hope you had a blast, but I'm not signing out. Why am I not signing out? Because I have to tell you something else. I have to tell you about this. And I have to find what, yeah. Okay, so Inked Marketing and NSC Live TV are proud to present the NSC Roadshow Podcast Tour. As a creator, come be treated like a rock star as we take you on tour with podcasters worldwide, expanding your audience base with each show. Got a crowdfunding project you'd like to tell thousands about? Come get on the tour. Are you a podcaster that would like more creators on your show? Come get on the tour. Visit nscroadshow.com for more information. And I say that because we are part of the NSC Road Tour. So we do have, when you see that symbol in the top, you'll know that we're with one of their guest artists that has signed up with us. Tonight, we are still ourselves, but we're branching out. We're trying to get more guests, and we're going through Inked Marketing to do that with the NSC Roadshow Tour. So, Kevin, if you are hard up for guests, go talk to our friend Kevin Galat over there, and maybe he can sign you up with some people. And with that, now we will sign out. So thank you, everybody, and we will be back tomorrow night. Hope to see you then.